A piece of paper is worth nothing. No food, no warmth, no shelter. And yet, billions of people would kill for it. Money isn't real, so why do we all believe in it? This isn't a story about coins. It's a story about trust. The strangest, most fragile agreement humans ever made, and it almost never happened. 10,000 years ago, there was no money at all. No banks, no prices, no wallets. Just people, trading what they had for what they needed. It sounds simple. It wasn't. Imagine you raise goats. You need shoes, but the shoemaker doesn't want a goat. He wants fish. Now you need to find someone with fish who wants a goat. Then trade that fish for shoes. This problem had a name. Economists call it the double coincidence of wants. It sounds harmless, but it nearly strangled human civilization before it began. Villages grew, trade grew, and barter simply couldn't keep up. People needed something else, something everyone would accept, not because it was useful, but because everyone agreed it was valuable. That single idea would change history forever. But early humans didn't invent coins first. They invented something far stranger. They started trading with shells. On islands across the Pacific, cowrie shells became currency. They were rare, beautiful, hard to fake. For over 3,000 years, shells paid debts, dowries, and wars. An entire economy, built on the ocean floor. In parts of Africa and Asia, cattle became money. Not eaten, not sold for meat. Cattle represented wealth itself. The Latin word for money, pecunia, literally comes from pecus, cattle. But shells break. Cattle die. Humans needed something that could survive time itself. That's when someone made a discovery that changed everything. Metal doesn't rot. Gold, silver, bronze, rare enough to be valuable, durable enough to last generations. Humanity had found its perfect currency. But there was still a problem. How do you know the metal is real? How much is enough? This is where history takes a strange turn. Around 600 BC, in the kingdom of Lydia, something extraordinary happened. A king stamped his own symbol onto metal discs. Suddenly, size and weight didn't matter. The stamp was the proof. This was the first official coin in human history. Not just metal, not just value, a government's promise, pressed into gold. Trust had a shape now. Coins spread like wildfire. Persia, Greece, Rome, empires realized something powerful. Whoever controls the coin, controls the people. Roman soldiers were paid in coins called denarii. Some historians believe that's where the word money traces its roots. Coins built roads. Coins built armies. Coins built the ancient world. But empires eventually made a fatal mistake. They started shrinking the silver in every coin. Same coin, less value. The people didn't notice, at first. Then prices began rising. Trust began cracking. An empire that stamped its own currency had quietly poisoned it. Rome would eventually collapse for many reasons, but currency corruption was one of the deepest wounds. The lesson was brutal, but simple. Money only works if people believe in it. For centuries after Rome, the world went quiet. Coins still existed, but something new was coming. Something lighter, something almost unbelievable. Humans were about to trust paper. In 7th century China, merchants grew tired of carrying heavy coins, so they left their gold with trusted merchants. In return, they received a paper receipt. That receipt could be traded, just like coins. This was the birth of paper money. Not because paper had value, but because people trusted what it represented. Gold, sitting safely somewhere else. By the Tang and Song dynasties, paper currency was official. Entire empires ran on printed promises. It seemed brilliant, but it hid a dangerous temptation. If you can print money, why not print more? Chinese officials eventually printed far beyond their gold reserves. Inflation followed. Trust collapsed. The paper became worthless almost overnight. An early warning the world would ignore for centuries. But the idea didn't die. It quietly spread west. European banks began issuing their own paper notes. Each one promised gold, locked safely in a vault. People stopped asking to see the gold. They just trusted the paper. This system had a name, the gold standard. For hundreds of years, it anchored the world's economies. Paper money, backed by real, physical gold. It felt unbreakable. Then came a century of wars. Governments needed money faster than gold could supply. One by one, nations quietly broke the promise. The paper stayed. The gold disappeared. By 1971, the United States made it official. The dollar was no longer backed by gold at all. No metal, no vault, no physical guarantee, just an idea. This moment terrified economists. Money now had zero physical value behind it, so why didn't the world collapse? This is where the real mystery begins. Modern money isn't backed by gold, it's backed by something far more powerful: belief. Collective, shared, unshakable belief. $100 bill is just cotton and ink. It's worth $100 only because millions of people agree it is. The moment people stop agreeing, the paper becomes worthless. This is called fiat currency, Latin for let it be done, not backed by gold, backed by government authority and public trust. It sounds fragile. In some ways, it is. History is full of currencies that collapsed overnight. Germany in the 1920s, Zimbabwe in the 2000s. When trust dies, money dies with it. In Weimar Germany, inflation spiraled so violently, people burned banknotes for heat, cheaper than firewood. Wheelbarrows carried cash just to buy bread. The money was real, the trust wasn't. So why does modern currency still work? Why do billions trust numbers on a screen? The answer isn't paper. It isn't gold either. It's institutions, central banks, legal systems, governments, an invisible web of promises, holding the illusion steady. Money became a system of trust, engineered on purpose. But even this system had a breaking point. In 2008, that trust nearly shattered completely. Banks collapsed. Markets crashed. People began questioning the entire financial system. Out of that chaos, something unexpected emerged. A stranger, using the name Satoshi Nakamoto, released a strange new idea into the world: money with no bank, no government, no middleman. Bitcoin proposed something radical. Trust wouldn't come from an institution. It would come from code, math, and thousands of computers agreeing with each other automatically. No vault, no president, no printing press, just a public ledger, impossible to secretly alter. For the first time in history, trust didn't need a human authority at all. Critics called it madness. Believers called it revolutionary. Either way, it proved something ancient. Money has always been an idea, reinvented. Shells, cattle, metal, paper, code. The materials keep changing, but the core ingredient never does: shared belief. Every currency in human history has followed the same fragile pattern. People agree it has value. That agreement holds, until it doesn't. Then it vanishes, sometimes overnight. Today, most money isn't even physical. Over 90% of global currency exists only as digital numbers. No coins, no paper, no vault, just entries in a database, trusted completely. Think about your own bank account. You've probably never seen your money. You've never held it. You simply trust a screen that says it exists. That's the real invention. Not coins, not paper, not even code. Humans invented a way to believe in something invisible, and somehow, it holds civilization together. This is stranger than it sounds. Wars have been fought over this belief. Empires have risen because of it. Empires have fallen when it broke. Every recession, every financial crisis, every economic miracle, all of it traces back to one fragile question: do people still believe? And here's the unsettling part. Nothing is physically stopping that belief from disappearing tomorrow. No law of nature protects currency. Only human agreement does. Yet somehow, for thousands of years, that agreement has mostly survived. Through wars, collapses, and revolutions, money keeps reinventing itself to stay trusted. From shells on a beach, to gold in a vault, to numbers on a screen, the story never really ends. It evolves. Today, new experiments are already underway. Digital currencies issued directly by governments. Decentralized currencies controlled by no one. The next chapter of trust is already being written. Some believe physical cash will disappear completely. Others believe decentralized money will replace banks entirely. No one knows for certain, but history offers one certain warning. Whatever form money takes next, it will only work if people believe in it. The moment that belief breaks, the system breaks with it. So the next time you hold a coin, or a bill, or check a number on your phone, remember what you're actually looking at. Not metal, not paper, not pixels. You're looking at trust, turned into an object, passed between strangers, for thousands of years, without ever really existing at all. Humans didn't just invent money. They invented a shared hallucination powerful enough to build cities, fund wars, and connect billions of strangers who will never meet. Money was never really about the metal, or the paper, or the code. It was always about us, and whether we still believe. And as long as we do, the story continues.